this is Neil with Wasted Paper here, bringing you another pen review, this time on the Monteverde MP1. For those of you not familiar with this pen, Monteverde just recently had their 25th anniversary, and to celebrate they're releasing 3 pens. I'm hoping to get videos on all of these for you, but this is the first one to be released, so let's get straight into it. When looking at the package here, you have like a blueprint schematic look of the pen itself, which does spoil something unique to this pen. It has a piston, which is a first for Monteverde, at least Monteverde USA from what I read on the pen. On the side here, you have information from the company talking about their anniversary celebration. You have the pen model and then the nib I got a broad, and I'll show you why or explain that more as we get into it. Right here you have the website, more of the schematic of the pen with it closed. Black matte case, nothing too crazy. They use these plastic ones on certain pens before. There's their branding as well. And now we have the pen and some instructions. Usually under here they'll have some cartridges, but I'm curious what'll be in here for a converter pen. For starters, you have information on the knob right here. This piston does lock, which is unique. I don't see a lot of companies doing that. What it does is you lock it so that it doesn't accidentally twist or anything in your pocket. Instructions on that. And then how to fill the pen. My light's making it really bright and reflective, but this definitely has like a satin finish to it here. I'll kind of block the light a little bit. You can see it better. From the top finial right here, you have the Monteverde logo. It's very smooth on top. This metal all around is very smooth. I like that. You have your clip. Not too hard to actuate. Doesn't give a lot to it, so it's got a bit of resistance. I'm sure if I had something in here, it wouldn't be too bad, though. From there, you have a crystal clear body, as you can see. I think people will probably compare this pen the most to maybe a TWSBI. Going down from that though, the unique thing about this pen is this piston right here. So what this has is when these two dots are aligned, you push this down and it locks it in place so it's not going to spin or get loose in your pocket. Really nice design, super interesting. We'll see how it works in practicality. I don't have many piston pens that I keep in my pocket. I have plenty of those pens, but they're usually in a pen case. They don't really have an issue with twisting, but I could see this one, especially at its price point, being able to be thrown around a lot more than the higher end piston pens. On the back of the cap here, you have Monteverde USA, and it says MP1 as that's the model of the pen. It takes 2 3/4 spins to uncap the pen. Underneath there, you have an O-ring, it looks like, which is interesting, I guess, because you're putting metal on plastic. Yeah, it's all metal threads on the inside of there. You have a Yovo number 6 nib with Monteverde's branding on it, and it's really nice to see the crystal clear grip too. What's interesting, I don't know that I saw this, is it has a triangle grip right here, here, and here. That's pretty surprising, similar to like Lamy and stuff like that, but I don't know that I expected that. This will probably get compared actually to the TWSBI Eco T, which I know has a grip similar to this. A really smart feature about this locking piston and O-ring right here is this. When you post the pen, 1, super secure, it's not shaking or going anywhere, and 2, because you have the piston locked, you can spin this in your pocket or on accident, whatever. You're not going to spin your piston at all. It stays in place. Super smart design and forward thinking. Love that. For inking the pen, I'm going to be going with Ferris Wheel Press. This is from their Fairy Tale collection. This is called Sugar and Spite. This is actually one of my favorite inks. I don't really use shimmer inks often, and you'll probably not see many of them ever again on my channel. It's just not for me. But this being a clear demonstrator, I'm like, you know what? Let's bring it out. I love how this color looks, and I really wish I could actually have this ink without the shimmer. The only reason I'm this way with shimmer, it's not because they're not good, but it's because I use my pens at work all the time, and one single time I had a pen jam. It was a Lamy. It jammed because of, not this specific ink, but because of shimmer. Before I ink this, I actually just realized you can lock this piston in any spot you want. I put it towards the center, and you can lock it there. I can put it forward more. As long as you align these dots, it locks anywhere. That's interesting, and it's actually kind of nice because there's times when your ink starts to get low. You can just push it forward and lock it in place there. I didn't even think about that until I did it just now. For my writing sample, I'm going to be going with my Highlander notebook. I've done a lot of writing samples in this paper already, and I'm going to continue to use it. Really big fan of this notebook, and if you hadn't seen it before, Gilded Pages. Check it out. this is with no pressure. This is with, none, with, none, with. Looking at this up close, the first thing that I noticed right away is how smooth of a rider that was. I'm actually really surprised, I guess. I don't use a lot of broad nibs, and I've said that in the past, but that thing writes smooth as heck. I have another Monteverde broad nib, which is on my Innova M Formula M. I have a video of that right there. That one has a black broad nib, granted. This one is just stainless steel. It doesn't have any sort of coating or anything. But that is a super smooth riding experience. And it really gives me like monoliner vibes where it's like the same no matter what. The consistency on that is definitely there. I would say there was no issues with ink flow at all. Wish you could see the shimmer on this. It's so nice. As far as flex goes, there's really not anything to show there. It writes really consistent. It writes really smooth. I would say this is more for someone that just wants something that's not going to fail them, right? I don't need flourishes or anything. I want my writing to look clean, consistent, and nice. For size comparisons on the MP1, I have my go-to Lamy Safari, but I'm also going to grab the Monteverde Ritma. This is an all-metal pen from them, but it's also in the same price point, so that's where I would really want to get that to compare. Some people may already have this one. Surprisingly, the MP1 is the longest pen. The weight of it is really low, so it doesn't feel like a big pen at all to me. It's also not a super wide body, but this crystal clear, I don't know if it's acrylic or plastic barrel, keeps it from having a lot of weight to it. So that's really nice for a pen of that length. When looking at them without the cap on, the MP1 is still the longest. It really keeps that form factor. I think that's really solid design, that there's no surprises. You know what you're getting because it's consistent. And that's how it writes too. So I'm a big fan of that. It's not much longer than the Safari, but it's that same difference that it had when it had the cap on. And this is where we get the biggest departure. It's still the biggest pen as you expected, but because of that O-ring, you're not posting this pen super deep, so it actually makes the cap extend pretty far off the back. Now let's talk price. So the MSRP for this pen is $65. It is on Atlas Stationers for $52, but my discount code, which I'll have in the description down below, does work on this pen. So you end up getting it for $46.80. At least where I'm at, that's kind of what it's showing, but expect 10% off the pen with my code. Now for $46.80, how do I feel about this pen, keeping that in mind? I'm pretty impressed with it. I've never really gotten into that TWSBI hype. I might get into that in the future. I'd love to check some out. Maybe they'll release the right color. But this one just spoke to me. It was like Monteverde, which is a brand I really like. It's affordable for sure. And then you actually get the aluminum cap and the aluminum piston. The big thing for me was this interesting new design, right? So it's a new model for one, but you also have this locking piston. And I just thought it'd be cool to check out a model that I'm interested in and see what other people might think as well. The nib on here writes amazingly smooth. I had no issue with it. I wasn't expecting the triangle grip on this pen at all, but it's really not an issue. It's not obtrusive. It really feels like it's guiding you more than it's forcing you, if that makes sense. The one thing I will point out if I had to give any con, but it's not really a con, is since the body is that plastic and you have such nice aluminum on here, the body can come off as feeling a little bit cheaper, but not in a way that you're like, man, I feel like I'm getting scammed. I think for this price point, this is a really, really good deal. And I think it's a pen that if you love Monteverde, you really should check out. All that being said, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below.